6:32 p.m. We're going to call this meeting to order for the North Miami Community Schools January regular school board meeting. First item on the agenda this evening is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I want to thank everybody for being here this evening. As customary, the first meeting of the year, we have the privilege of reorganizing, and we will. I gotta get the right one up here. So I'm at the wrong meeting. Sorry about that. I was reading this. All right, we have no public comment and emergency revisions. There are none this evening, so we can jump down to item A. I'd like to open the floor for nominations for president of the board.
Nominate Darren Sturge. Second.
I have a motion from Sam Finnegan to nominate Darren Sturge, second from Stan Hudson. Any other motions? I need a member to close nominations. Closed by Amy Eckroat. All right, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of Darren Sturge president for 2026, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Darren Sturge as president, 5-0 or 6-0, with Jeff working, not president. All right, Darren, I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, open the floor for nominations for vice president.
I nominate you.
Second.
Motion and a second. Motion to close? Okay. All those in favor? Say, all right, motion carries. Okay, take nominations for secretary.
Nominate Amy Eckroat. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Okay. All those in favor for Amy Eckroat as secretary? Opposed? All right, motion carries 0. And we will need to appoint assistant secretary for school board of trustees. I'll open nominations. Yep.
That's what I'm saying, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
nominate
was
Stan, but I was
trying to
making
think
sure,
who it was.
I was gonna make sure he was
Yeah, in
going
your
to do it
notes,
before I threw him under the bus.
Yeah, in exec content, we did put a
I
note who it
nominate
was
Stan.
last year, so it's at the
Yeah,
bottom there.
that's what I was getting ready to do,
All
was
right.
make sure he was.
Miss
I
Eckroat?
second.
All right, can we get a nomination to close? All right, all those in favor for Stan Hudson as assistant secretary? All right, opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. All right, recommendation that the treasurer be authorized to pay utilities and any other necessary payments. Need a motion for that.
Second.
A motion by Mrs. Eckroat, second by Mr. Finnegan. All those in favor? Opposed? All right, motion carries. Recommendation to appoint Kenneth Hansen as school board, or school corporation purchaser.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Theodore, second by Mr. Finnegan. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Recommendation for the appointment of the following. Serena Francis as corporation treasurer. Should we do this second?
They can do one motion.
Okay, and Megan Miller as corporation deputy treasurer. motion to appoint, the superintendent and superintendent's designee as the authorized signer for alternative and private residential placements when necessary.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Finnegan, second by Mrs. Echo. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Recommendation to assign committee yeah, to the following areas. Do we wanna just go through these like we did
Can we
last
just make
year?
a motion to keep all of them the same?
Yeah,
Does anybody wanna switch?
unless somebody
here?
wants to switch.
Good.
I'm good with what
Yeah.
I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm good.
Everybody good? Can I make one motion? Ken?
Yeah.
I think we did.
Why Stan, why are you giggling?
I make a motion, we all remain the same unless someone wants to change something.
Second, we can have discussion.
Second.
Ask for discussion.
All those in favor? Keeping the same? Alright, motion carries.
We don't have song later.
Health and safety.
Do we wanna, just note who, is in each of those, just?
Yeah, I
so-
can read them
yeah.
off here real quick. Athletic representatives will be Mark Yodorf and Sam Finnegan, alternate Dave Floyd. Calendar, Sam Finnegan. Collective bargaining, Jeff Working, Dave Floyd, and Stan Hudson. Amy Eckert is the alternate. Facilities, Mark Yodorf, Sam Finnegan, Stan Hudson, alternate Dave Floyd. Heartland Career Center representative Darren Sturch. Insurance, which we've not met in a long time, but Stan and Darren, if we were to ever look at insurance changes. ISBA representative Amy Eckrow. Technology, Dave Floyd and Sam Finnegan, and transportation, Mark Yodorf, Sam Finnegan, and Jeff Working. Those are the committees.
Thank you.
We'll be done all of the transportation.
Okay, good. And you were able to make it in as the
Yeah,
alternate on
I was
that,
on
so.
there.
Well, I had Stan Hudson as
Is
alternate.
Stan on alternate facilities?
Dave is the alternate on there. Stan's on the committee.
Yeah, he's on there,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. We can do that.
Do we need to amend that or just add him? Doesn't have.
He came to the last one, and he wasn't even on there, so I think we're
Okay,
okay.
we're good.
Okay, now. Okay, cool. Alright, we can move on to approval of minutes. Recommend approval of minutes from, December executive session.
Still moved.
Oh, I'm sorry, regular session. Dave's.
Still moved.
Yeah.
Second.
Alright, motion by Mr. Floyd, second by Mrs. Eckrow, all those in favor, motion carries. Now we can go ahead and move on to executive session. Take a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Floyd, second by Mr. Hudson, all those in favor, motion carries. Approval of claims.
Like that, I think it's $40,000.
Electric bill? Yeah, it was something we've been continuing to keep an eye on, so.
What was like 30 something
Last month or last year?
No, last month. You know, we had that issue with the roof.
When you get those,
Handler.
Yeah.
I thought it jumped.
when you get those light bills, I suppose there was something like it, from RMC, right? It shows every month, the graph on every month. How's it compare with a year ago?
So we've been diving into that, and the software RMC has with the Smart Hub is helpful to an extent, but we've got one meter, so it's hard to delineate. So Boog was diving into a little bit of that, wanting to understand some of that breakdown. But yeah, we've made some headway. I mean, we had a handler that's stuck on, we've had some other areas with a unit up in the mezzanine we addressed that was pulling a lot of wattage. But there's some things that,
We got one
Found
in
some.
so we just got one meter.
yeah.
So what's, I suppose RMC will back out on that too.
So they, I mean, when we did the energy audit, I mean, submetering was an option but it was a lot of money to, to break down, break down our systems.
How
And,
much?
we were talking hundreds of thousands for that one. I mean, there was a reason we chose not to do it. It was expensive.
The problem is, we own all the lines
Yeah.
from the start of the property, clear back around by the football field and, all that.
Yeah, and it's been a good agreement. I mean, from a maintenance standpoint, they do a good job partnering with us and work on the transformers and the lines and the
They
poles.
just back it off, don't they? Used to
there's some months where there's some anomalies and we found some things. Srini, you wanna add with?
Yeah,
with
I
Brooke?
think they've addressed 3 or 4 big things that were happening. Something had to do with those new transformers down there in the basement, with this last project, something with that connection. So, I wanna say by August, our bill went way down. They addressed that. There was a heating cooling unit that was stuck in some mode. They were here again today. They're still
Yeah.
researching it. But our bill had dropped way back down. It was more in the range than it was a year ago. The one that's on the docket this time was our December, and it was just really, really cold. We did a 3-year comparison, and we're in
Winter
line with
hit-
where we
winter
were
hit
2
early
years ago.
this year
So
compared to-
while it was a lot, we thought that it was better than what we were seeing the first half of 25 because we had issues with those. So, I know we're still working on some of that, but they definitely have it a lot better than we were. They did learn that that new transformer system that's down there has some different meterings on it now that, Boog understands, so we can do a little bit more metering out of the high school building. We still don't have separate meters, but at least he's got some gauges down there that have been really helpful.
So moved.
I do have one question, sorry.
No, that's-
Lycra of Rochester, what is that? It's, 1,349.95, says CO/in HS checks.
That's the printing company that used to be Hardesty out of
Oh, okay.
Rochester, and we bought checks for our office and the middle high school and
Okay.
envelopes that match those checks.
Any other discussion? Motion by Mr. Hudson, second by Mrs. Eckroat. All those in favor? Opposed? Alright, motion carries. We can move on to programs.
Yeah. So, I've got the privilege this evening to reintroduce, proud North Miami alum. So, he had tracked me down at the annual fish fry the other night and said, hey, I'd love to be able to share what I've been up to. So, Jesus, we're more than proud of what you've been up to, representing North Miami across the state. And I'm thankful you're willing to share this evening, but I thought it'd be an excellent idea for Jesus to share his adventures of what he's been up to. So.
Yeah, all right. Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. I know that the cold has not been cooperative with us the last couple of days, but we're trying to make the best out of it. So, as you currently don't know me, my name is Jesus. I've been here the student 4 years. Those who know me from way back, I used to be elementary student, then moved to Mexico, then came back. Was on the, I've been member 4 years, I was student reporter, and then I became chapter student advisor, and now I am serving this position as a state sentinel. So, in front of you, some of you collected this piece of paper that I put in the beginning. Who does not have one?
Yeah, I think we could use, got one
Oh,
here?
wait, I got one
We
here.
got one here.
Yeah, don't, ladies, would you like one? Okay,
Yep.
Sharon, okay. So, we began our journey on June 18th. June 17th, the night before, they gave us a paper with a slate saying, congratulations, you have made slate, you are now, it all depends tomorrow if the assembly either votes you in favor or they want to do it the old fashioned way, which slate has only been broken twice at a state FFA convention, and actually one of them was when Mr. Wildemuth was a delegate back in 1995, so that was very interesting. And thankfully, slate passed, and now I was voted as state sentinel. Now, those who ask, what does the sentinel do? I still am figuring out that today. But essentially is, we work as a team. There's no hierarchy except when we have official meetings, when we have the president and secretary to take all minutes. But usually I'll be in charge of, like, an example is communicate with my teammates, hey, we have this contest coming up, we have to make sure that we are prepared for it. What do we need to do? What are the timelines for it? Do we need to bring extra stuff for the contest or anything? I'm also in charge of keeping records of any events that we do on the Dropbox, which I've never learned to use Dropbox until this year, which has actually become very useful. Then we moved into the State Officer House on the 27th. I began several trainings in July, which also included a trip to Washington, D.C. to a state officer training where I met state officers from across the state and the nation. I also got to meet our local representative, Mr. Rudy Yakam, at the house as well. Had a wonderful conversation. Actually, I got a letter from him last year, congratulating my team for going to nationals for poultry for the FFA side, which was really cool. Then we moved into August, we went to the state fair. Did anybody go to the state fair this year? Nobody went to the state fair? Miss Cypher, you went to the state fair? Did you see me down there at the state fair?
Yeah.
So,
Remember?
State fair was out,
I
man,
know,
so
it
many
was a
people.
blur.
had
It was a blur.
It was a blur, but actually the first 2 weeks of it was the coolest, and then the third week just became really hot. We have a pavilion down there where we basically host, children comes, learns about FFA. We have a little animal section where they can come and pet animals and also feed them for the extraordinary price of $2 per piece of a little small bucket of carrots or whatever they desire to feed them. Then we moved into, after state fair, we had our premier leadership training, which is for district officers. This year we have Hannah Early serving as our district officer for District 6. And then finally we moved into preparing for our workshops that we were gonna present at each chapter and district during district hookups in September. So I got the privilege to attend districts 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 12 districts in the state. This year, actually, we are going through the process of redistricting as an entire state. Not like in the House, but we're also going at the FFA level. We're going from 12 districts to 16 districts now. And so it's gonna be a huge change. Where next year North Miami will be in District 7. We are currently now in District 6. So it's gonna be a big change, big change, and lots to come for it. We're looking forward to it. In September, we were preparing for Seeking Opportunities Achieving Results Conference, which is from levels 8th through 11th through 10th grade. Had the privilege of also traveling to the chapters to attend district kickoffs. Leadership training, we had some different leadership training that gave us a little bit of different styles of leadership as well as speaking. I think I remember 2 years ago when I came and present here with the board. I remember I was very scared. Now I can go and say confidence, hey, I am no longer afraid to speak in public now, which is really great. October, we had our workshops, we presented. I was in charge of making mock CDE, mock career development and leadership development contests for all the students. So one thing that I am very proud of that I did at North Miami FFA was to do poultry judging. And we did the mock CD contest for poultry judging, and all the students loved it. So that was very, very glad to do that contest. I know for a fact I had help from Mr. Williams set up that contest, so we had some great results out of it. Then we started working on our Foundations of Reaching Excellence conference, which was in November. And I also had the privilege of attending the State Souls Judging Contest in Huntington, which North Miami went and swept the contest. I was actually, my teammates on the way back, I remember I'm driving and they're just saying, North Miami swept 1st to 10th place. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, yeah, that's very normal for us. Then later in October, I had the privilege of attending National Convention. I met with several delegates from across the nation. I was a part of a committee that we were trying to design better ways to utilize the delegate experience. And I was also tasked with voting on the affiliation amendment at National Convention, which is, in short story, basically what it was is every student enrolled in ag, if that amendment would have passed, would make automatically every student an FFA member. So, because personally myself, I thought it would not be a great result, as it would cause a lot of issues across the state. So, me and my teammates, we decided it was not a great idea, and Indiana voted against it, along with several other states. The amendment did not pass. So we are, luckily right now, we're in a position where we can still say, hey, chapter to chapter, you are allowed to either choose whether your ag students are in FFA or not, by choice. And so I think that was a great stance for Indiana. Then we moved into November, we had our fire workshop, and we attended our first business and industry visit, which was actually at the Farm Bureau building down in downtown Indy. And in December, we conducted a lot of business and industry visits with a lot of different businesses. We went to Pioneer in Tipton, Beck's, their headquarters. We attended the Corteva building down in Indianapolis. The Farm Bureau Convention, actually, I loved French Lick. If anybody has the opportunity to go to French Lick, go there. It's actually beautiful, especially during Christmas. Then we started working on our leadership development workshop. This is actually going to come up in the end of January, starting in February. And then we developed our personal workshops for chapter visits. So I developed a workshop that I'm presenting at all the chapters I'm going to in the next 3 months. So my last chapter visit will be on March 13th. And my first chapter workshop was last week on January 12th. So far, I've helped, also this month I had the opportunity to help at the State Crops, Forestry, and Entomology Contest down in Indy in Boone County. And tomorrow at 7:30, I will be attending Advocacy Day at the Indiana State House, where we'll be promoting FFA at all levels with our representatives. Now, I'm currently serving on some committees across the state. I serve on the executive committee, which is basically all the 12 district presidents, plus the section directors, band and chorus president, and the state officers, which oversees any business that needs to be done related to student representation across Indiana. The foundation committee, which is basically Indiana FFA's foundation, where we determine how finances are doing. Do we need to do cuts? Do we need to do budgeting? Any sort of financial responsibility that has to do with Indiana FFA. And the Delegate Enhancement Experience Committee, that committee I served at the national level. Upcoming events for the rest of the year, we have the State Parlay Contest on February 7th, if I'm not wrong. I'll continue to do chapter visits, as I've said previously, in March. I'll be starting keynote training for our chapter visits for any banquets. I'll be here at North Miami's banquet on March 25th. We'll be starting our state convention preparation, which will be this year in the arena in Noblesville. It used to be at Purdue. Purdue is going through renovation, so they're moving it this year to Noblesville, which was at the venue at the 90s concert. I thought it was lovely, and also to see Vanilla Ice play live. Still do some great music. I will also be helping with any other career development or leadership development events along the way. And finally, we have our state convention, June 15th to the 18th. 18th is the last day I will be serving as a state officer. Future plans: I will be attending Northeastern Oklahoma to graduate in ag education, and also be doing some horse judging on the side. And then transfer to River Falls, Wisconsin, or Huntington University to finish my degree in ag ed. Hopefully become an ag teacher, come back to Indiana if I go to River Falls, or stay in Indiana. Stay close home, and hopefully come back and teach here in North Miami. Any questions I want to ask? I'll try to make that as quick as I could.
That was great.
I know I just dumped you a whole lot of information, but.
You mentioned, that they increased the districts, and
Yes.
they changed. Why did it, is it numbers, logistics?
So Indiana has never redistricted in its almost 100 years of history, and it seemed that the time was needed because there was a lot of chapters that had a lot of members. There were some districts that had a lot of chapters, and there were some districts that have no chapters at all. So they kind of needed to even out the balance of how representation, travel distance, and also competitiveness as well. So that's why this year will be the first year where they have 16 districts, which I am glad I will not be in term for that. Because that will be a lot of chapter visits and a lot of district visits, and we were barely limited on time this year. When it came to North Miami's for District 6 district kickoff, me and the district president, we were running late because of the distance between the schools we were trying to hit. So it is kind of a challenge when you're trying to map out the whole entire districts and trying to go from different chapters. So.
What's the most?
No, go ahead.
What's the most fun that you can tell us about that you've had so far?
The most fun. I've had a lot of fun with the business and industry visits. I thought it was really nice to see again is potential right now what we're having with our industries, how it's growing based on the ag side. The one that I really liked the most was Corteva, Pioneer and Tipton. I like this way we walked through their facility, how the process of bagging seed corn and shipping it out, and then we got a tour from Jeff Tashney, Tyler Tashney's father, so it was pretty nice to see North Miami person I knew. But another thing that's also been really incredible was the participation at conferences, especially with trying to create those mock contests so they can explore and see, hey, am I interested in doing some sort of judging? Am I interested in some sort of public speaking? What is my interest? Trying to find that niche for those students.
You mentioned that the first time you came and spoke that you were really nervous.
Yeah.
I don't notice any difference between this.
I've been improving, but
You truly are. You're a born leader. You're a born speaker. We're proud to have you from North Miami, and we would be very proud to have you from back. I mean, you've got the world at your fingertips. You really do. We're proud of you.
thank you.
Good job.
Really doing really good things so far. Expect to do a lot of good things.
If you had to pick one thing, if you were, for a student to be in one, like maybe program within FFA, what would it be? Would it be soils?
It would be. Yeah, that's a hard one.
If you could only pick one.
No, I'll pick one. Soils. I'll pick soils. I was successful in all of them, but I think soils by default.
Well, it seems we got a girls' game over there tonight. Ready to pop in? You gotta head back south, or?
I stay at my home tonight.
Yeah?
Thankfully, because I'll be here in the district this week, so I'll be at Jay County on Thursday. Tomorrow I'm at the State House. On Friday I'm at Manchester. So
That's some miles.
that's the miles.
How many miles have you put on the car this year?
Let's see. The car was at 190, and I'm at 2,400, so almost 14,000 miles.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
that's a lot of miles.
That's not even, yeah, we're in January.
We're in January. We still got. We still got FFA week. We still got the chapter visits. We still got a whole lot of stuff yet. But it'll be a good one.
Well, let's just thank you for sharing this evening. Appreciate
Yes,
it.
thank you very
No
much.
problem.
It was good to see you.
Maybe excuse me. I'll make my way out. Gotta get some sleep for
Yep.
tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Gotta meet our legislators. Tell them why FFA is great. Thank you very much, everybody. Hope you have a nice
Thank
night.
you.
Enjoy the rest of the evening.
You too.
Anybody know what the basketball score was before?
I don't know if the varsity.
I don't think they've started yet.
It hasn't started, but they are on RTC. I just
I'll
got a message saying.
probably just sneak by and see how they're doing.
There you go.
All right, thank you, everybody. Have a nice
Yeah.
night.
Okay, we can move on to staff reports.
We do have a strategic plan.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Couple-
strategic
they're-
plan.
They are not as lengthy as some have been, but we do have a community update we'd like to present to you. We'll start with the elementary. I think Shree's got that pulled up there, so. Bailey and Danielle, if you'd like to present what you've been up to here within the community partnerships.
Sure. So we have just been continuing a lot of the partnerships that we have already built. I don't know if, I believe that Emily attached it, but we do have a new flyer for our FFA programs that we redid this year that kind of outline the changes that we've made. Continuing with Honeywell outreach, as far as health goes, all of the really fun ones like puberty talks, those will be coming up later. Those are always enjoyable and we get some interesting questions. So we are still doing our vision screenings, hearing, and dental as well. I don't have on here, but we also are working with Super Shots, and they will be at Roundup this year. And then we always have them, Florence usually has them come a different time as well. But we are gonna be doing an immunization clinic during Roundup, and it is not just for Roundup, it is for any student that wants to come in and needs to get their vaccinations. currently have 7 students that are with our 4C skills trainer, Terry. We had more last year, but some have moved or dropped out, and so she's servicing 7 students in our elementary right now. And then I think the biggest one for the update is Blessings, we're at 49, and we did 67 elementary students for our holiday assistance this year. And I wanna thank Chelsea for taking that on for us and organizing all of that. Shoes It Fit, we have had 51 students so far, and then we have not had to use the glasses assistance yet this year, which is kind of an anomaly. We usually have a handful that we have, but nobody has needed that assistance yet. And then, right now, I'm currently working on Kindergarten Roundup, and we have confirmed 12 agencies already that are gonna be there. So just a huge thanks for our continued partnerships that we have with all of the different agencies in our surrounding area.
Thank you, Danielle. In the middle high school.
Yeah. What I've got highlighted here, just updated numbers. Some of them are repeat, but for through Ivy Tech dual credit for first semester, we had 129 credits earned by our students. Dual enrollment, we had 33 credits earned, and that doesn't count the amount of credits that were earned not facilitated in our building. Though I couldn't get those numbers quite yet because they didn't have grades done when I initially submitted this. So our kids are getting that college credit, which is great. A lot of those dual credits are actually coming from our ag program, which is great to see, and in our Spanish program as well. AP, our stats and AB calculus class numbers are the same. Language and composition are the same from first semester to second semester. So our students are still working in that curriculum, and we have 16 students outside of Heartland that are doing internships through our guidance office. Moving into health, during first semester we hosted 2 blood drives, which were relatively successful. A big motivator for doing blood drives, obviously working with the American Red Cross, but they also provide scholarships for our students, for our seniors who help and volunteer at those blood drives, which is really cool. Last year, Ben Laycock ended up earning that scholarship, and it was like $1,000 or $2,000 that he was able to get, which is significant. And we'll host at least 2 more blood drives in second semester. For student services, our 7th and 8th graders are working through the Second Steps program, same program that the elementary is working through, and that's facilitated from by our social worker and then our middle school guidance counselor. And then the numbers that we got from holiday assistance, we had 45 students that were serviced out of the middle high school, and we were able to provide 32 shoes through the Shoes That Fit program. So, but a lot of the things that we do, we're still tracking in terms of who we're giving food bags to every week, and adding kids to that list is necessary and families is necessary. We're still working with PQC trains with our students, having a split time. Our PQC trains worker Amy Bainey, she's splitting between us and Eastern right now, and she actually reached out to me today, and she might have more availability within that program, and she might get this up, so a couple days for us, which would be nice. It's always nice to have people in the building that know our kids, so, but that's what I've got for our partnerships.
Do either of you feel like you have a gap in any of the areas, or do you feel like you're good? No, and some of the local churches, like the pastors that come
piggybacking off of their presentation, one of our partners in, extension of our counseling services that's settled in, they've been here now for a considerable amount of time, is 4C Health. And just a couple updates with that MOU, what we've always referred to as the individuals that their employees in our buildings have been skills trainers. Effective back in December, they changed that title to a recovery facilitator. And so just, make note of that. They also provided us the opportunity, for the students that they already work with to offer therapy services. So that's a new service that we're gonna target only middle high school. Just that's the area. And this is really preventing a barrier where a lot of times this is always only distributed through parent permission, but it's that parent getting them there. So them going them elsewhere, this can be an opportunity for that to be, through 4C, not through us, but under available here, I guess, is the best way to put it. And then lastly, I wanted to mention they did remove a non-solicitation clause. So in the past, we've had positions that are open that, 4C employees have been interested in, and there was like a non-compete, so they've eliminated that just because they knew that was a hindrance to the schools that they partnered with, if there was a good employee. So they've removed that in that MOU as well, which I thought was a good gesture for them on their, in that regard. So, but it's, as 4C's evolved some, mental health is a challenging area. And it's been helpful to us and our counselors, for those students that have been eligible to receive those services. It's been a good group, so. We've had Bowen come in as well. There's no exclusivity. I mean, Fort County represents our county. They've been our longest partner in that area, but it's not anything that's just solely mutual, but, yeah. And other items here on my list include, tag distribution. This lovely process this year, the state reorganized this whole grant, and we, designated our dollar amount. We've known how many positions that we potentially have available. So we've got this all slotted in place. At the elementary building, data is more consistent grade to grade within class, and I just went blank. Excel, there we go. And so we were able to break that data down in math and English and with in-class scores and clearly look at that data, remove names and distribute. We will be distributing those awards or those recommendations based on that data. The middle high school, from where we started in this tag process to where we ended up, and all of the elective areas, very, very more challenging from that perspective. So we created an application process. Those are due tomorrow. Those will be reviewed by our building admin, but will be data driven. They'll have some justification being able, based on that application quality. And our goal is, or requirement, have those names submitted to the state here in January. Those dollar amounts then will be released to those teachers that were selected come April. I think we have 60 days to distribute it, but it'll be by the end of the school year. And then with our numbers being an odd number, we have 7 positions that potentially could be awarded at that $3,500 level. And so with elementary having an additional grade level and having the data just be a little more clear cut this year 1, we're gonna look at distributing 4 at the elementary and 3 at the middle high school. And then the intent is then to alternate that from year to year. This grant probably will see some changes, I hope, going into next year. But this is also the first year rolling this out. So that's kind of where we're at when we kind of put it together and try to sit back and be a little patient, see how some other schools were handling this. I'm pretty pleased with where we ended up, in regards to the overall outcome here and making the most of what we have available to us. So they did recommend to submit maybe a little more, so we've recommended Carice select an alternative as well. So we'll submit 4 names, just as an additional in case there's an extra money in the pot. It wouldn't hurt to ask. So that's the plan. So, that's with tag distribution. Tomorrow, I think we have some sound baffles, Danielle, being delivered to your building in the arena. It has helped. However, there was some installation that we weren't real pleased with, and there were some of the baffle, a couple of them that were damaged when they put them up, so they're repairing and replacing and realigning a few of them. So they're supposed to work on that on Thursday, but those will be delivered tomorrow. So far, from an instructional standpoint and inclement weather, we, as you know, used both of our makeup days. The first one was scheduled for Monday. Weather still refused to cooperate, so it ended up being a virtual day on a makeup day. So we've used 2 virtual instruction days. President's Day in February is a physical makeup day, and I wanna make note, we put it through as a calendar change. We'll put out a reminder, but it'll be here before we know it. But the PD Day in February has been moved from February 2nd to the 9th. And so that'll be a no school day for our students, but a teacher PD work day for our staff. So, couple of accolades I can't go without mentioning, and don't wanna take for granted around here. Our wrestling program is, you know, maybe comparable, Sam, to what I used doing here. It's pretty unreal. We haven't lost a dual meet in 2 years. I think, what are we, 55, 54, you know, something like that. You know, back-to-back state champions in a very tough field of 1A schools. You know, we've got wrestlers on this team that are, you know, Hartley set the pin record this year. Coach Hoover surpassed, you know, win records as coaches. As a coach, he's built a program. I think he started working with these kids when these seniors were kindergartners. And so, you know, this is 13 years in the making, and I think that hard work's paying off. So I'm excited to where we go. We were in HNAC conference champs again this last weekend. You know, next up is sectional, and you know, there is no class system in the sectional and regional, and you know, we're the defending sectional and regional champion heading into that. I know some of these wrestlers have some big expectations going to the individual tournament. So couldn't be more proud of Coach Hoover and the guys representing North Miami. They're fun to watch. They make it look easy. I think wrestling's the hardest sport out there. I was a basketball player, and I started watching wrestling, and you know, a lot of respect for that sport. These guys are disciplined, and it takes a lot of work. So I wanna make sure that we give them their proper respect and accolades there for our wrestling state title. We're working on updating. We got some structural, what we call some design last year when we won the state, and it was just a project. We wanted to see how these signs came out on the road frontage, but we wanna update in this community our state championship signs. So we're looking at maybe, we determined, talking with Joe, probably 4 locations coming in here from 19 off of the school road in Denver, coming into Mexico on Business 31 from the south side, and then coming into Deedsville from 1,000 as updating our state championship signs from the 93 football, the 2014 softball, and then these last 2 wrestling state championships. So that's something we're working on. And then the only other thing, you know, Joe's done a nice job with the banners in the gym, but the large photos that we have for the state championship, we're out of real estate in the commons, so we're gonna probably relocate those to the athletic hallway and redesign that whole hallway with our state accolades for accomplishments for our individuals and teams. So that's in the works there for that. And then Lindsay Pugh, back, you know, returned as a state qualifier. She won the regional and girls wrestling at Kokomo. I think she had the toughest draw. She drew a girl that was, I think the only reason she was the 4 seed is she had a couple medical forfeits in the regional, so it was pretty rough deal. But Lindsay was a great career at North Miami as a wrestler. She's gonna go on to do good things, and girls wrestling's just exploded in the state. That whole tournament is went from, you know, not a sanctioned IHSA sport to these last 2 years being sanctioned, and has continued to grow immensely. And then lastly, you know, Jesus was here, our Parley team, and took, you know, he mentioned him sweeping soils. We swept soils, but our Parley team went down to Hamilton Heights. Our senior team, our freshman novice team, and won the section championship, qualified for state. They'll compete on the 7th. I don't think there is a area now that we, you know, don't represent North Miami at a high level. So the fish fry, I know many of you were there. I think Jim said we sold record. We set a record with 800. It's either 61 or 91. 91 tickets, the most we've ever sold. It was the night of the IU college football championship, and we still have people in this community to show up. The line out, I think Bailey, you said you waited for an hour and 40 minutes at the drive-through. So, I mean, the cafeteria was packed for 3 hours. We played Winnemac, I mean, and so it wasn't, I mean, our community supports this program. It was good to see. I know they made a good amount of money off that fundraiser. But no, it's what I want to share. The weather, just FYI, it's going to be chilly. Friday is pretty dreary for a forecast tip-wise, and winter is officially back. It came early this year and disappeared for us for a little while, and I was in a little bit of disbelief. I sent the board, I know I sent you guys some pictures, but that lakeside lake effect clip that we experienced in the northern eastern part of our district that morning. I mean, I showed up here to the school that morning at 5. We had a couple inches of snow here. You know, highways weren't bad at all. I literally got to 1,000 north, east, you know, near Squirrel Creek. I mean, we're talking 10, 12, blowing. I mean, some of those roads were, I mean, I was in a truck and was able to get through, but a car, it was just amazing the difference from here to just 1,400 north. I can't imagine dealing with lake effect up north on a regular basis. So. Well, that's my corporate report. I'm going to hand it over. Carice, if you want to share middle high school updates. I know our student reporter isn't here as well, but you can kind of give us some athletic updates as well.
Yeah, Kenny pretty much covered a lot of our athletics with wrestling. Our boys and girls basketball teams have been doing a great job this season. Really proud of boys basketball. With Coach Evans coming in and taking hold of the program, I think one of the best things that I've noticed is that buy-in from the kids, and that's huge when you're trying to shift a program in a new direction. Step one is getting kids to believe in what you're saying, and I think it's going really well. Some other things, I know over Christmas break, which seems like so long ago, but it really wasn't. Joe was here busy with events from basketball to hosting wrestling, and really thankful that he was able to, you know, take on that role during time when everybody else is off and they're on break. Recently, we had a student rotary, pre-rotary, and our student Rotarian was Taylor Sturch. She represented us very well. It's always amazing to see when our kids go into that environment, how poised they are, how professional they sounded, and she did a great job representing us. This Friday, if weather is cooperative, we will have a high school winter formal. So I'm really excited about that. I know the kids are excited. It's really nice to see the student council really shipping these opportunities. I don't know what's happened in the past couple years, but at some point in time, having dances and going to events like this wasn't cool, and so now they're really trying to bring back and revive that concept of a school gathering that isn't surrounded around athletics. So it's really nice to see. Since coming back from break, we've got middle school boys basketball is starting to phase out. Middle school girls basketball started. Middle school wrestling is going. So all of our kids of all ages are really busy in January, which is really nice. There's not a lot to do. It's cold. It's miserable out. Our drama department just announced recently that they're going to be doing Mary Poppins for their spring musical. I'm so excited for that. They did some like weekly updates and reveals leading up to what they were going to be doing this year. So I anticipate a huge turnout for our students, middle school through high school, to go out for that. Outside of that, next week we're going to be doing the second round of iLearn checkpoints testing for our middle school students. So hopefully we can be here every day next week and get that in. And we'll be sending out reminders this week to parents to prepare and make sure their kids eat breakfast and get sleep and do their best. So that's what I got.
Congratulate Christina on passing her praxis on Friday.
Yes, Christina passed her praxis.
A little different
solid week with all of them here, because the littles, when we don't have that, it's really hard for them to stay on track. So, our virtual schedule, when we did the synchronous learning overall, for our first time doing it with all of the students, went really fairly well. I helped with some of the tech support, and mostly it was grandparents that were trying to help the younger ones navigate it. That I did a lot of tech support too, but that was the first one. The second day went really, really smoothly, so we got the kinks worked out, and so that went really well. We are in the middle of testing, which is also why I really want to be here for a full week. We just finished up our M class, which is the kindergarten through second grade dyslexia screener. We just finished those up. We did our HMH into reading, which is third through sixth grade, so they've done their reading assessment as well. For our high ability with Mrs. Lawson, she is doing the cognitive abilities test, and we do that with kindergarten, second, and fifth grade. So she is finishing that up as well. Megan Hoover just finished all of our WIDA testing with our ESL students K through 12, so we have that done. And then this week we are doing our iLearn checkpoint too. So coming back, getting all of that testing, everything updated, and missing days has been kind of a struggle for us, but we're getting there. A little slower than we thought, but we're getting there. I am happy to say, and you'll see it on the board agenda, I have 2 maternity leaves, and I now have someone to fill both of them. So that was fantastic. I was getting a little nervous, but I think we're gonna have 2 really good ones to fill those. Coming up in February, we will have our daddy-daughter dance, which is a huge event. We had over 100 girls last year. Sam, I know, is going to be there again this year, I am sure. So start getting ready.
The only thing I will ask.
What is that?
Maybe can we schedule it on a night that we don't have a home basketball game?
It's always whatever the
know.
Friday
I know.
of,
I'm just
yeah,
joking.
sorry,
We'll
Sam.
transition and we'll go in our costumes to the high school.
Okay.
Our costumes?
They're not costumes, that's your dress up and look fancy outfit, I guess, I don't know. February 23rd, that week is our move-a-thon week. We always do the readathon in the fall, and so I'm working with Leslie Parsons to get the move-a-thon ready to go, but we'll be doing that. And then, like I mentioned, I'm working on Roundup. So Megan has the flyer done. I always say she Millerizes things. In other words, she makes it look so awesome. So she has the flyers done. She did a fantastic job. Our theme this year is gonna be places you'll go. We've done safari for a long time, so what we are trying to do is each year do like a 3-year rotation. So if we have students who come when they are 3 for preschool, 4 for preschool, and then 5 for kindergarten, they get something different every year. So brand new theme this year that we're going to be doing, and I'm hoping for a huge, huge turnout this year. And that's all I
Yeah,
have.
you better make it happen.
I know, shake the bushes, yeah.
Are you feeling like your remediation, for either one of you, is the remediation making a difference? You need feedback from your staff?
We really won't. They're working through their study plans. Our students are very resistant to the remediation, but I think that's just gotta come with time in terms of them just getting used to doing it and being meant to be held accountable for their schoolwork. But in talking to some of our teachers, I think they're starting to see that change in students because we are holding them accountable and we're doing things a little bit differently. We'll see what happens in our second checkpoint and our third checkpoint in the spring. But ultimately, with remediation efforts, we're not gonna all really know if it's really paid off until we do the summative performance. But I think in terms of that, with the kids being resistant at first, I think teachers are seeing them coming around to the fact of, oh, I actually have to get this stuff done. I have to do my work. We've dedicated every day to getting those things done and getting them to where they need to be. we'll see when it's all said and done, how they have improved and how they've grown, so.
And I feel like our warrior period, because we're doing that 2:30 to 3:00 every day, it's been a challenge just because it's a brand new to 5th and 6th. Typically, they do more of the whole group and not as much as of the small group, but they are really noticing it's worked really well, because when they see, we've had to kind of shift. We had our plan of, okay, we're going to do these lessons and use, these materials, but it's like any teaching, once we started doing that, we realized these materials aren't really fitting exactly what the students need, so we've been building curriculum along the way. The other thing, for math, for example, I know I've been working with Jenna Hovermail, is, she's kinda had to pivot, we did this unit, they didn't get this, so then we came back together as a 5th and 6th grade team and said, all right, we need to change. They did, cause we were kind of predicting based on those iLearn checkpoint, okay, they don't know this concept. But we found out it just hadn't been taught yet, and so they really didn't need it. So that math lesson we had planned in 3 weeks, we found out, they all got that. And so it's been kind of a moving target, but it's been really good conversations and really looking at what are they doing in the classroom and delving into not just did I teach it, but did they learn it? And if they did, how do I know that? If they didn't, how do I know that? And now, what do we do in those small groups in the afternoons? The other thing that we found is with our plan, we were doing, for the English language arts, we were having them read something and then do a skill with it, but we found they were spending, since it's only a half an hour, it was taking them a lot longer to read something, and then we couldn't really get to the teaching. So now what we're doing is we're totally revamping that. We're using one text, and then we will use that for 2 or 3 lessons, and we're having them like pre-read it, so we don't spend all of our remediation time with them just reading. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of it is just, as we started doing it, shifting, what our plan was, and then when we put it, it's like anything else. Once you do it, you're like, that didn't work. I need to change the way that we're doing it. So it's been a really great learning process, but I feel like we're really fine-tuning how we identify what they do or don't know, and then how do we respond to that in those small groups. So it has been, I feel like it's been really beneficial, just figuring it out and doing the checkpoints for the very first time. Just all of it's new, but I feel like this second one, we now going into it will know exactly what, how we should plan everything out for those lessons. But yeah, it has been a really good process.
All right, we have our fund monitor report. This summarizes the end of the year, December 2025.
So our, like Kenny just said, the end of December for our calendar year budget, is reflected in this report. Our education fund, when we just tried to compare like these markers on here, so our revenue was down a little over 6%, but our expenditures only were down 4%. So, we knew we were eating that cash balance, but we really, helped with some of that and ended up, kind of where our target was to come out right there, just 100,000 upside down overall. The hardest part about this education fund in 25 was the movement of curricular materials, because that had a separate fund leading into this. That cash that was in there from the payment we got in December of 24 rolled into this fund, but then we spent it by adopting curriculum, iPad leases, so it depleted it, and now those expenses that are reoccurring or that we choose to do are just now a part of that education fund with no revenue to back that up or change those like that had in previous years. Our operations fund, we got our property tax collections and excise, see that, those miscellaneous things for operations and debt service fund in December. I did, the last few months, I had this, amount, the 730,000, that was our tax anticipation warrants in there as revenue for that operations fund, but it skewed it a little bit when we were trying to compare end of the year 24 to end of the year 25. So that was a 10% semester, what that looks like in there, but that luncheon increase really will help that balance itself out and come back to be neutral. And we didn't have any payments come out of our bond funds or any change in rainy day in December.
Any questions for Springer? No old business?
Nope.
Alright, move on to personnel. First is resignations. Recommendation to approve resignation for Maddie Galloway, elementary care professional.
Move.
Motion by Mr. Dudor, second by Mrs. Ecker, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Yep, right, hire recommendations. Recommendation for certified staff Hannah Harnish, short-term sub for first grade. Motion by Mr. Hudson, second by, Mrs. Ecker, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Okay, non-cert, for Leslie Certain, elementary paraprofessional, and Chad Chamis for transportation director.
Yeah, and real quick, on the transportation director with Chad, we met as a transportation committee in December and rolled out kind of our plan after meeting with some of our drivers and talking to other districts. And Chad's gonna take over the lead in regards to all operations involving our drivers. So communications with our buildings, compliance, routing, student discipline, and he's jumped in here and got off to a great start. And then the component of the job, you know, every district organizes transportation differently. With Rich's retirement, and, you know, and him wearing the hat of the garage, you know, in Denver and our director, you know, replacing that wasn't gonna be a apples to apples replacement. And so, as you can see later on in when we get into non-cert with our maintenance director position, we're really taking what we did as with Rich, and Chad's filling that bulk of that role, probably 95+%. And then Boog's gonna really help us with fleet maintenance or fleet management of our buses, and then be that person for us making decisions on working with Beechers on what we're doing to the buses. Boog's been a mechanic his whole career. We wanna take advantage of that asset. But really when it comes to managing our maintenance, our services, making decisions on what we fix and don't fix, and we've got off to a really good start with Jeff and Rich there at the shop as well. So look forward to maintaining that partnership with Beechers here locally. But Chad as a driver, Chad runs our route for our Rice classroom, so he covers the whole district. And he's also the pastor at the I just went blank on the name. It's the New Life out on 31, right just west of Mexico on 400. The church there, he's the pastor of. So
I think that's New Life.
I think it is New Life. It used to be the Methodist church out there. So, yeah, we've been meeting regularly. We met this morning with Chad. Tomorrow, I think we're meeting with the elementary. We've met with Carice. We've met with our drivers. So, look, really pleased with where we're at in this transition, and looking forward to continuing to work on some things going into this semester.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Finnegan, second by Mr. Floyd, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to athletic hires. Adam Miller, varsity girls track assistant, Kayla Rudd, spring strength and conditioning, Jonathan Moreland, middle school football assistant coach, Parker Johnson, volunteer baseball coach.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Dudor, second by Mr. Finnegan, all those in favor? Opposed? Alright, motion carries 6-0. And then we'll go ahead and move on to, non-cert, staff salary increase for recommendation of approval of hourly wage increase non-cert staff. The recommendation is for a minimum of 50 cents per hour.
Yeah, the schedule, if you wanna pull it up, Serena, it's 50 cents across the board for all of our non-cert positions, with the exception of the executive secretary position. When we were looking at regional, that one was one of the ones off. And she's also done a great job of taking over all of our transportation for extracurricular activities. That was an area, so that's an additional 50 cent there. And then I mentioned the maintenance director with his role of transportation, and then the other is an additional, for our bus drivers, just regionally, area we're really gonna hit some, we're gonna emphasize trying to recruit, whether it's some full-time subs, that move into routes. There hasn't been a year go by that we haven't lost a route driver, and so that's something, with losing our trainers, Roger and Rich did our training, that's something that's gonna be an emphasis of ours here, wrapping up the school year, to make sure we keep drivers, active, so. But that's the recommendation then, and you can see at the bottom here where that total amount, the increased cost, and then where those funds, are supporting that increase for our non-cert.
Take a motion.
Question, not really a complaint, but maybe that is a complaint, I don't know. Okay. You just said that it was 95% of the director's job was still here on the new guy. I have to go back and look at his name, but yeah, Bogey's gonna take up the last 5%, so are we saying?
No, and that also, the part I left out is that also is comparing maintenance service director regionally, so.
Well, that's what I was gonna say,
Yeah.
because he's basically paid for 3 hours a day, correct?
For the transportation director?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's spread out over the year, so yeah, it comes out to salary of around 14,000 is what.
But Bogey's increase is all day.
Yeah, year round, every day of the year, so. And that's, I mean, those are two things we took into correlation, and comparing that director position, that was another area that was behind a little, so. That's where that recommendation's coming from, so. For a that $3 increase there, and so it's hard to, we look at it hourly, Does that make sense, Mark? I guess,
Yeah,
okay.
it does.
How many hours a week does Doug usually work?
What he turns, that's a good question, Dave, a lot. I mean, like right now, him and Shannon are here at 4 AM plowing, and they're, schedule wise, 6 to 2 is what they're supposed to be here, but there's, if there's really a day he's out of here by 2, if there's really a day he's here not, before 6, so it's quite a bit, so.
And then time and a half after 40.
Yeah, we make sure we manage that, and they make our rounds on the weekends, so, they check on those things.
And what's the pay on the weekend?
What do we, Serena, they turn those in?
What is the pay, or
I mean,
how?
is it like double?
It's
Or is it?
1.5.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Finnegan, second by Mr. Hudson, all those in favor? Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. You have Peter opposed? Ms. Eckroat, Mr. Dewar opposed. Let's move on to, administrative team stipends, recommendation approval of stipends for administrative team of $750.
Yeah, we usually try to bring these all typically earlier than January, but with getting everything later through the process this fall. So the recommendations for the administrative team with a $750 stipend, for this school year.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Finnegan, second by Mr. Beardorf, all those in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries 6-0. Business, recommendation purchase of, activity bus for a total cost of $108,461 from Curlin Bus Sales. I know you have a quote for us to look at.
Yeah, they break down every component of how they
Yeah.
get to that dollar amount, but it is, they're showing their bids of where they come into play here, but it is, we have 4, one of ours is significantly high in mileage and age, so they are being used more and more each and every year with just driver availability in the evenings for our teams, so, this is what we ran through the committee and recommendation to purchase another, we don't plan to get rid Well, through Curlin's, they have this in stock, otherwise we'd be waiting for a year
No,
plus.
the bids, you got McAllister, Midwest.
Yeah, they're just Curlin's provides that to us from a comparison of trying to justify their price. Is that the best way to put it, Serena?
It's a state bid.
Yeah,
So
so-
there's a service center for the state that bids out all the buses and those three businesses are the ones that submitted for this type of a bus.
Well, we did with Curlin, 50 plus years. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I've just never seen anything depreciate like a bus.
I was
ever.
gonna ask, like, what
Ever.
happens after you drive it up the lot?
This is year 8. I think we paid 65 for the last one.
Yeah. And then they're worth nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we'd get, a bus quote's coming in at 159, and we get 1,500 for the trade.
But you can't be without it.
Yeah.
How often are we using the activity buses rather than,
Every night, I would say it's not uncommon for all 4 of them to be out, Dave. The only driver we have right now driving extracurricular most evenings is Lowell. And so, talking football, basketball teams, but if a team fits on those, if not, wrestling's taking 2 of them. We just don't have any drivers that are available.
And it doesn't take the same license, correct?
You don't need any, yeah. It goes through our own training program.
Yeah.
is the liability higher on that than a long bus?
I don't think there's any different. It's all covered under our insurance. They did away with the vans. I think they used to have the school van. I think those were a liability concern, is why those disappeared.
So these are diesel.
Yeah, I believe. No,
No,
they're
they're not.
gas.
They're
They're gas.
not.
I was gonna say, we fill these with gas.
Yeah.
So. Who knows what diesel would cost, man? It might be another.
Yeah, everybody will be also road fuel or
So
farm
the
fuel.
diesels are pretty good for miles.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever even. I can ask, but we can.
Gotta change the color of the fuel.
Years ago, we had some minis
Yeah.
that
Big
were
fuel
sold.
tanks.
Yeah, we got FFA in that bus. Should be farm fuel.
Do we have any motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Dudor, second by Mr. Finnegan, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 0. Donations. Community Church of Mexico, 1,083. Middle School, High School Kitchen, negative lunch accounts. Denver Baptist Church, 638.97. FFA Denver Day Stand Help. Anonymous, 1,000. Middle School, High School Angel Fund, or Middle School, High School Kitchen Angel Fund.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Floyd, second by Mrs. Zephyr, all those in favor, opposed, motion carries 6-0. Fundraisers, looks like there's Little Caesars pizza kits for prom funds, for the class of 2027, DeRozier's Donuts for the class of 2027 for prom funds, and then crush sales for, middle school, for student needs and activities.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Finnegan, second by Mr. Floyd, all those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. Move on to comments.
Go ahead, Mark. You always got a comment.
I don't have a lot, really. It was a pretty short meeting, and I haven't been around for a while. It's just like trying to get back in the groove here a little bit, so I'm good.
Danielle, I had the privilege of being off for the first live learning day.
I didn't get a call from you.
I survived. But I tell you what, I was so stressed out, like, I don't know how your teachers do it with the amount of muting and unmuting that these kids will do. And then to hear what's going on in the backgrounds and dogs barking and kudos. That's all I can say is
It's
they do a
interesting
great job of
experience.
corralling or trying to in that atmosphere. It was very interesting to watch them conduct their business, but at least for Miss Jones, she did a great job. So,
Thank you for sharing.
but it was wow, yeah. So, other than that, sounds like everything's going good. You guys are
what you do. That's all we ask, so appreciate you.
I'll piggyback on Sam, I do not miss those e-learning days, I do not miss that stupid homework. Thank God we had Carrie Wilson and Janet Leader and some of the nice teachers, but yeah, I don't miss that. Yeah, just keep working.
It was great that Jesus was here. Thanks for bringing, that was really good to listen to. It's good to see, what he's done, and proud of the whole school, athletics, FFA, everything. We're doing great. And then just say, if the transportation director's listening, that since we put that bus through, if I can get put to the top of the.
Training?
No, so I don't
The
have.
new one?
Yeah.
Is he gonna be doing the training now?
Yeah, we've given him the
I'm
checklist.
trained. I just
So-
don't know
Chad-
what bus
Chad-
number one anymore.
Chad-
from Rich though?
Yeah, if you've all been trained, you're good, but
Okay.
Chad will be doing any new training, so.
Give me the good bus.
Stop at railroad crossings. Know how to shut the buzzer off, those are the two deals. Okay.
Yes, I'm up. We got a lot of great things going on here, like she said, Jesus, it's amazing. I mean, that kid's gonna go places. But you know, there's a old saying, our glass is half full or half empty. And we never be satisfied with half full. I mean, I'm not saying we gotta hit 100%. We still have some areas that, not to take away from everything else, but you know what I mean. Let's never get content with half.
No, it's great to see Jesus, and to think that he's not even a year out of graduating from here. Dude, I know that he's spoken with the FFA kids, but does our student assembly get to listen to him talk, or?
Chris, he's been in the buildings, I know.
He's been in the buildings a lot.
He interacts with our FFA a lot, I don't know about the whole school.
When he's
body.
around, he's in Jim's classroom.
Yeah.
So not necessarily in like an assembly style, but he's been around. He was just in last week.
Have we ever had like former students come back and speak to our students just to see, for them to see that, hey, there's people that walk these halls that are what they're doing now, and
We have, we've done that during like 4-year periods before. She was just saying Ethan's come back and spoken to the kids, but that hasn't been for a while. But we've had those opportunities before.
I know it's something we discussed, even in athletics too, alumni, bringing those in for leadership positions, but a little bit of research, I think we'd be even surprised where our North Miami alum have gone to.
Right.
So I like that idea a lot.
I know just talking with my kids' friends, they always have questions. Of careers, especially now with seniors, what is there available, and it's just, they want to know, but don't always have the access to that information. So I'd be willing to help out with doing something, maybe bring former alumni or back in to talk to the kids.
I got a text this morning, and I guess a good opportunity to share from my comment. 24 graduate, a year prior to Jesus, but Josh Mowry, I think we all know Josh, just, quite the accomplishment. I'll just read it here. This is permission from his mother as well, but, he, graduated the Marines as an honor graduate, and so, 77 recruits, there's one honor graduate, so Josh received that recognition, so, pretty impressive. I know he was volunteering, coaching a couple of youth soccer teams this fall before he left for